Fox-Rouch is a young business owner striving to make a difference in the world of online marketing. Passionate about possibility and the importance of a family-owned business, she has dedicated her career to helping small business owners build strong and effective web presences. As the sole proprietor of her new startup, Kaha Marketing, Amanda has had opportunities to create and manage websites for a variety of small businesses, from aquarium storefronts to attorney offices, medical practices, and national flooring distributors. In a world of Fiverr and outsourcing, Amanda is dedicated to providing high-quality, beautiful blogs and copy that fit the specific needs of each client. She has used her experience to help companies rebrand, refresh, and grow exponentially. Her one-on-one approach and understanding of the difficulties of small business owners provide her with a unique position in the internet marketing industry. Amanda lives in East Stroudsburg with her partner Diana. In her off time, she enjoys reading, hiking, and attempting to bond with her freshwater guppies. How do you go about doing that?
It's not easy, but I have a cat now,
Yeah,
and he's marginally better at bonding.
Yeah, okay. Please welcome Amanda Fox-Rouch to present Boost Your Business with Blogging and Social Media.
Hi guys. So, coming up on the end of the day, everybody's tired. But yeah, my name's Amanda. I'm the founder of Kaha Marketing, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about using blogs and social media to boost your business. So we're here at Northeastern Pennsylvania BlogCon. This is actually my first time here, and it's my first time speaking at a conference, which is why I have 40 note cards for a presentation that's only 10 slides long. So bear with me. So I'm assuming that there are primarily two groups of people here today. The first group is the one that I fall into, which includes those of us who understand and respect the power of blogs and social media, and we use these tools to further our goals in our personal and business endeavors, whatever they may be. The second group of people probably includes those of you who also understand and respect the power of blogging and social media, but you have yet to begin using these tools for a number of reasons. Maybe you don't have enough time, or you're just not sure where to start. So whichever camp you fall into, I'm here today to talk to you about how we can use these tools a little bit better. And I think that the main way to use social media and blogs to their full potential is to make sure that your efforts really speak to your target audiences and your target customers, whoever they may be. So my principle here is, if you want your internet marketing, which in this context obviously includes blogs and social media, to work for you and your business and your endeavors, then it has to work for your customers. So in talking about shifting to this different model of approaching these tools, this is what I will cover. First, I will go over in brief the past and present of blogging and social media. I think in order to fully understand where we are today in terms of these tools and to use them effectively, we have to go back and examine their original intentions. Then I will get to the meat of my presentation, which is the 7 principles of creating customer-centric content. I'm going to show you how to shift your mindset and make your content interesting to your audience, and therefore much more effective at attracting qualified leads for your business or whatever projects you're working on. Finally, I'm going to show you a winning example of a blog post. This is a blog excerpt that I think really encapsulates the 7 principles of customer-centric content. I'm going to break it down for you and show you exactly why and how it's so effective so that you can go forth on your own to create content that works for your needs and your customers' needs. So first, a bit about the history of blogging. This is the first recorded post on LiveJournal. And for those of you who don't know or don't remember LiveJournal, it was and is a blogging platform that was launched in 1997 when this was first written, and it reached its peak popularity, I would say, in the early 2000s. So this post was actually written by the guy who founded LiveJournal, and at the time he was still in high school. And so he is sort of lamenting the fact that he has so much homework and so many chores and all this stuff to do. And it's a very personal post, and it demonstrates the original personal nature of blogging. You went on your blog to vent and to talk about your day and your interests and your hobbies, and to connect not only with people in your inner circle, but also with people around the world who you would otherwise never get a chance to meet. So for a lot of us, the intention with blogging and social media is still the same. We still go on our blogs and onto our social media networks to vent and to share stories. But obviously, a lot of things have changed since 1997. And now companies can advertise to us through their blogs and actually on our own social media feeds. So we see big companies like Dunkin' Donuts using hashtags, emojis, animated GIFs to connect with people. And they use social media for primarily one of two reasons, or both. They do it to appear more personable. So here Dunkin' Donuts is saying, hey, look, I use emojis just like you and your friends. I'm cool. Go ahead and like me. They also use these tools to re-engage their customers. So if you go on the Dunkin' Donuts Twitter feed, for example, you'll probably see a lot of pictures of their iced coffee. And I have to admit, seeing those pictures do something weird to my brain where I immediately want to go get a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. So it works. It works for them. Their intention there is to re-engage you and say, hey, you love our coffee. You haven't been in to a Dunkin' Donuts location in a few weeks. Come by and treat yourself. But if you're a small business and you don't yet have thousands or millions of followers, you're going to use these tools a little bit differently to first amass a following of people who want to listen to you. And that's where the 7 principles come in. So in covering these 7 principles of customer-centric content, I want to help your efforts on your social media profiles and on your blog improve so that you can better engage your target audience and therefore boost your business. So often when I start out with small businesses and I introduce them to content marketing and the concept of blogging, they say, oh, this will be a great opportunity to plug that new product we promoted or that we launched last week. Let's tweet about it 25 times, write 3 blog posts about it, post about it on Facebook 10 times, and then tomorrow do it all again, right? So they want to just constantly just promote their products, promote their services, just talk about themselves. But that's not the way to get people interested in your company and what you have to say. So how do you ensure that your efforts to connect with people are successful? That's where the 7 principles come in. So my first principle is value, value, value. It's my belief that bringing value to your audience should motivate every single thing you do on your blog and on your social media networks. You want to attract people to your business and establish trust. And you have to keep in mind that the members of your audience are not going on the internet to be sold to. They're going on the internet probably to either learn something, to do something productive, or to have fun. So you want to keep that in mind when you're creating your content. You want to put out content that is useful, interesting, and helpful to your target audience. But how do you create value for your audience if you're not sure exactly who they are? That's where principle number 2 comes in, and we've talked about this a lot today. Knowing your audience is very, very important. It's so important to define precisely who makes up your target audience before you start any content creation efforts. And hopefully if you have a business, you already have this down to a T. So you should understand what's their primary age range, what kind of interests and hobbies do they have, what kind of professions do they hold. For this to work, you also have to figure out how your audience consumes content on the internet. So for example, if you're primarily advertising to millennials, we're more likely to want to watch a video than read a blog post. Whereas if you're targeting older men, you're probably not going to find a lot of them on Pinterest or Instagram, right? So you want to find out where they live on the internet, go there, and give them the content that they want. Guest blogging is a great way to do this as well, which we also talked about today. Once you figure out where your target audience is, you want to try and figure out some questions that they might have which overlap with your industry. Blogs give you ample opportunities to answer questions for your audience and therefore create value for them and build trust into your brand. So to help yourself find out what your audience is interested in, you can use the Google Keyword Planning tool, which other people have mentioned too. And so you can go in there to find keywords and phrases that people are searching for, which relate to your industry, and see what sorts of volumes people are searching for, and build blog content around that. And the keyword tool really, warrants a presentation of its own, but there are tons of free guides out there. If you're marketing to people in a specific profession, chances are there are lots of industry forums that they populate, so you can go onto those forums and do some digging. It's sort of like secretive knowledge that it seems kind of weird that you're in there. You seem like an insider, but you can really see what they're talking about with regards to your industry, and see if there are some frequently asked questions that keep popping up, and also use those questions to build blog content. And then the hope there is that in the future, if people start searching for the answers to those questions, they will find your blog and therefore go onto your website and learn a little bit about your company. So obviously there's a lot to do, so it's also important to manage your stress when creating content. That's why the third principle is to make it easy for yourself to create content. If you make it easy for yourself, you're more likely to do it consistently. And consistency really is key for results. One way to make it easy for yourself, which we also talked about a lot today, is to repurpose content. So if you if you record a video and you post it to YouTube, you can then write a blog post about the same topic. And then something else we learned today is you can actually just extract the audio from that video and make it into a blogcast. There are just so many ways to repurpose content so that you can just link to all these different platforms and have your brand promoted across them with very, very minimal effort. In terms of making it easy for you to do social media, it can be really overwhelming, but there are tons of scheduling tools out there. I recommend, in particular, Hootsuite and Buffer. And if I mention anything here that you didn't catch, just catch me after this. I have a list of all the resources I mentioned that are free, and I'm not, being paid to promote them, and many more. And I'll give you that list after this. So Hootsuite and Buffer and other scheduling tools let you sit down like once a week, or really whenever you get a chance, and schedule out your posts days or weeks or even months in advance. And that's opposed to just logging into each individual account when you want to post and doing it like that. It just really makes it easy. But I want to mention that Facebook's algorithm actually prefers natively published content. So you don't want to publish your Facebook content through these third-party tools like Hootsuite and Buffer. You actually want to go directly to Facebook and post it there, because then it's more likely to show up in people's news feeds. And luckily, Facebook has its own scheduling tool that you can use. In making it easy for yourself to create content on a consistent basis and create value for your audience, you also want to make sure that it's easy for you to capture information from qualified leads who view your content. And therefore, you can benefit from the content that you're working so hard to create. One of the most important things you can do with your content is to attract email subscribers. Email marketing, it's proven time and time again that out of all the digital marketing methods out there, email marketing has the highest return on investment. I think studies say it gives you an average of $38 profit for every dollar spent. So it's phenomenal, and you want to make sure you have clear, easy ways throughout your site for people to opt in to an email list so that you can continue sending them content. I recommend in particular lead pages, which isn't free unfortunately, but it makes it very, very easy to create landing pages and other opt-in opportunities for your audience and to capture that information from them. MailMunch, if your site is hosted on WordPress, MailMunch is a free tool that you can also use to create opt-in boxes so that people can give you their information, their emails, their names, whatever information you want from them. But I want to mention that starting in early 2017, Google is going to start penalizing pop-ups that cover the entire page. So you want to avoid those. Those have become really popular. You want to avoid those kinds of pop-ups in favor of ones that say, scroll up as you scroll down the page, or just pop up in the middle of the page, or a landing page like lead pages. When you're creating content, it's really easy to get caught up in the text side of things. But you have to remember images are important too, as we just saw in the previous presentation. We're very visual creatures, so you want to create content that both shows and tells a story. Pictures create a more visually engaging experience for your audience. They encourage people to click through to read your content, and if they're already reading, they encourage people to keep on scrolling and reading. So you want to make sure that every single social media post of yours has an image assigned to it, because that's how you attract more clicks. Pictures with human faces are especially effective because they create an emotional connection with the viewer. Besides being engaging, pictures are also important on the back end in terms of SEO. So on your blog, you can go into the metadata of your pictures and insert important keywords so that not only is your text showing up for those keywords, but your pictures are showing up as well. But obviously you want to be careful of copyrighted content. You don't want to just go on Google and pull up any old thing that you see. There are lots of free stock photo websites out there. One that I use and recommend is Pixabay. Also, I use Pablo by Buffer to create free and visually engaging visuals for social media. Obviously, you can also take your own original pictures. It's surprisingly easy nowadays to do so with smartphones having filters and editing tools built right in. And as we've also talked about, social media networks are becoming increasingly video-centric. So as Tim mentioned before, Facebook Live is huge, and now we have Instagram Stories. So it should also become an increasingly important part of your content marketing strategy for your business and your projects. I mean, YouTube is the second largest search engine, right behind Google, and many people prefer video content to written content. So you want to think, what does your audience prefer? Do they prefer videos? Do they prefer written content? And then provide that content to them in the format that they prefer. So obviously this is a lot to think about, so you want to have a strategy in place. That's why principle number 6 is to strategize. Having a consistent strategy in place for your blogs and social media is very important. It helps you organize your content, make it more digestible for your audience, and provide value on a more consistent basis. You want your strategy to establish a few things. How often do you want to blog and post on social media? What topics do you want to cover? What keywords do you want to target on your blog and on your website? What kind of tone or voice do you want to convey? Do you want to appear more casual or more formal and professional? I personally like to use a spreadsheet to organize all this information, and I have a template that I can send you if you give me your email address. So as with social media, you want to try and sit down maybe once a week or whenever you get a chance, bang out a few blog posts and then post them. Schedule them out so that they're evenly distributed across time. You don't have to necessarily publish a blog every single day or every single week. You want to focus more on producing high quality content less often, as opposed to just sending stuff out there that's not really great for your audience. So this final principle really encompasses all of the others, and if you can only remember one principle that I showed you today, I want you to remember this one. It's not about you, it's about me, the customer. And it's easy to remember because it's kind of like George Costanza's famous line. It's almost the same words, but a different concept. And this is something that a lot of companies putting content strategies in place for the first time I find struggle with. They have their own social media profiles. They have these websites that are just centered completely around their companies. And this gives people the idea that they just need to talk about themselves all the time. And that may work for a personal brand or someone like Kim Kardashian, but in most cases it's not going to work for your business. Ultimately, yes, your blog and your social media profiles are meant to promote your business, but you don't attract potential customers by constantly talking about yourself and what you offer. You do it by talking in the context of your customers, their needs, and their interests. I am a customer. I don't want to hear about your Christmas party. I don't want to hear about Jim's promotion to VP. I want to see and read something that is interesting and useful to me, so give it to me. So going back to the first point, you want to really provide value to your audience. Keep them coming back and eventually, hopefully, convert them into paying customers. So to put this point into a little bit of context, one of my clients is a hardwood floor distributor. And when I was first starting out, they wanted me to blog about their products a lot. And I had so much trouble with this because I could talk about the specs of a hardwood floor sander or buffer until the cows came home, but it really made for blogs that were very, very tedious and boring to read. But the endeavor became so much easier with this principle in mind. I started blogging about the benefits of the product that the customers would experience instead of the features of the products themselves. So I'm a hardwood floor contractor. What is this belt sander going to help me achieve? Is it going to help me save time, money, energy? What's in it for me? That's the key. The very high RPM of a hardwood floor buffer, for example, is a feature of that product. The benefit is the time that I save on the job. So focus on that. Focus on the benefits over the features. You shouldn't be blogging about products and services all the time, but if you do have to, focus on the benefits for your customers over the features. So let's see these 7 principles in action. This is a blog excerpt from HubSpot blog, which I was talking to Sally about today. We love HubSpot. It's software that is meant for marketers, like me. So I am part of their target audience. So their headline is 15 time-saving email templates for marketing and sales free guide. So what makes this a winning headline? First of all, it references a common pain point that their target audience has, which is emails pulling you away from your work. You see a new email in your inbox, the immediate response is to look at it and respond to it, but that's not always the best use of your time. So emails can be really, really tedious to respond to. So, and it references that pain point while providing an easy and accessible solution in the form of a free guide. So this is a very common and effective problem solution setup that they're showing off here. And maybe I wasn't even aware of this problem before I read this headline, but now I'm painfully aware of it to the point where I need that solution that they're offering. This is also an effective headline because they use a series of very powerful keywords. They start off with the number 15. For some weird reason, we prefer seeing odd numbers to even numbers in content. So if you go onto BuzzFeed or any other listicle-based site, I'm sure that 8 times out of 10, you're going to see odd numbers, not even numbers in their content. I don't know why it is the way it is, but that's how it is. The second keyword here is time saving. That's powerful because I and a lot of other people in my industry feel like we just don't have enough time in the day to accomplish everything we need. Of course, we want to save time. Templates, that's actionable, and it's very, very easy to implement. Sales, that's an attractive word. It basically means money. It's like putting dollar signs in the headline. And finally, free. That is the king of all keywords. People love free stuff, especially if it's going to help them save time and make more money. So altogether, this makes for a very, very powerful and effective blog headline excerpt because it makes me want to click it and read their content and download the guide. And by downloading the guide, I probably have to give up some of my information like my email, my name, my phone number. And so that establishes a very important and powerful point of contact with HubSpot, and they then have an in to send me more content and ultimately try to convert me into a paying customer. So this is basically what you want to aim for in all of your content creation efforts. You want to provide a combination of value, incentive to click, and lead capture. So the incentive to click here comes in the form of the powerful headline, and the value that they're providing is the guide that I can download for free, which is going to help me out by saving me time, money, and energy. So to sum it all up, the evolution of blogging and social media up until this point has made them into powerful tools for businesses to leverage. And this is for businesses of all sizes and all industries. No matter what you do, how big or small your business is, you can use these tools to promote your business and find and connect with your target audience. In order to fully harness their power, though, we have to step back and figure out what our audience really wants. We have to blend in with the experiences that they're already having on these platforms. And then we have to provide valuable content in the formats that they prefer. And that's it.